Um, Remember how I had trouble getting jobs? Well, I got a call from another job. There's going to be interviews coming up. Now I know why I don't have a job. It's interview issues. Um, it turns out 85% of people who are on the autism spectrum, who have college degrees, don't have jobs. However, the rate of people with autism who have jobs who don't have college degrees is much higher. It's like 35% are unemployed versus 85% unemployed who have college degrees, which is completely ridiculous. Yeah, and then the article even said that it's almost like as if it's better for people with autism not to get a college degree. So imagine, I'm working 12 years of my life to get a college degree because I have a disability, so it's going to take a little longer for me to get to graduate. So imagine, instead of taking 5 years, it's taking me a little over twice as long because of the math classes. It's the math, some of the harder classes, because I can't take too many classes at once. So imagine, I spent 12 years of my life going to college. By then, I'll be about 34 years old because I started college at 22. I'll be 34. Imagine 34, I get out of college with a bachelor's, maybe master's degree, probably an advanced bachelor's. I go into the field. I go to the interview. I'm nervous in the interview, really, really, really nervous. I'm having difficulty multitasking, so I'm stuttering in the interview. I'm really nervous. I tell the interviewer I have autism, but the interviewer doesn't know what the heck autism is, or even if they do, they don't know exactly what it is. And basically they say, oh, he has poor social skills. There's no way he could become a broadcast meteorologist. And so they won't even take me for the next round. And imagine, 2 years, 3 years down the line, I'm still unemployed. Yeah, that's what's probably going to happen to me. And I feel like I'm wasting my life. I just want to prove a point. I want to prove a point that even though I'm disabled, I can achieve something in my life. But I fear that it's probably not going to happen. I fear that I'm going to graduate college and I'm not going to get anywhere with a degree. And the reason for the unemployment is because of interviews. People with autism do really, really poorly on interviews, especially if they go by themselves. It's mostly because of multitasking and social issues. So there's two issues plaguing people, including myself. It's multitasking issues, but the big issue is social. It's multitasking and social and anxiety. So those three issues are what's preventing people with autism from getting the job. It's the interview. The interview is like a big freaking brick wall. I mean, interviews are difficult for everybody. But people without autism don't have the chains or the difficulties of all these social barriers. They don't. And so they do quite well on interviews. And also, I went to a website about people with autism, about college graduates with autism, and they're all plagued with the same issues. They always rewrite their resumes trying to make it perfect. And what they really need is just help writing resumes and have an advocate to go with them on the job interview. I mean, I fear that if I go to a job interview with an advocate, they're going to say, oh, this guy, he has an advocate with him, like he has somebody to help him with the interviews. We can't give him the job. You know, then there's that too. If I go by myself, then there's the issue of how am I going to do socially. Like, I can't stick with a strict script. And then if I'm asked a curveball question, I'm going to freak out. That's why I'm probably not going to get a job. And that's my fear. I fear I'm going to be 40 years unemployed on SSI and disability checks despite having a master's degree. That's my fear. That's my fear. That I'm going to waste my life, waste all this time going to college and get nowhere with it. Just like the 85% of other people who have autism. And it's not their fault. It's just that they're not having all that social support that they need. All this untapped knowledge, it's such a waste. The smartest people in the world have autism. And actually, the thing that actually could help the most in a job, their work skills. It's the same reason they actually don't get the job, is because they're social. You put aside the social skills, they're excellent workers, like better than others. Like, for example, I'm really good at interpreting data, interpreting weather information, and talking to cameras like I am right now. Like if I'm given a script, I will do perfectly. I actually do volunteer weather for WATD, David Wolfson show. That's what I do. You know, if you live in Massachusetts and you listen to 95.9 Wednesday nights, you might hear me go between 2 and 5. I don't do it every week. Sometimes I do miss a few. Like if I have doctor's appointments, I can't do the weather. But here's the thing. If I'm given a script and like a teleprompter, I'll do perfectly. Or if I'm given an impromptu, I just gotta say the weather. I'm like, there's a storm system right here. You know, come up the East Coast and bring rain and snow. You know, like how I used to do weather videos, where I just give the weather. I'm really good at that. My only difficulty is social interaction. It always has been my difficulty. It's why I don't have any friends. It's why I'm still single. And it's why basically I'm suffering. It's why I can't get a job. The social impact of my life is killing me. Literally, it's why I'm so stressed. It's why I'm getting nowhere in life. It's why I have no friends. It's why I don't have a good job. And the fact is, I let my interviewers know I have autism. I let them know that I might be a little stressed out during the interview. But I think the issue is that maybe I was like I was too pushy about having autism. I'm like, am I gonna get hired even though I have autism? Like, I maybe shouldn't have said that in my last interview, and that's why I didn't get the job. Because when I went for the fast food interview, that's kind of what I did, and that cost me the job. Also, I went for another job interview where I was actually the only one dressed in work and fancy clothes. I was wearing a collared shirt, button down, black work pants, black dress pants, dressed really professionally, while the others weren't as dressed as professionally. They actually got the job and I didn't, because I got very nervous in the interview. I actually sweat like crazy. And I told them I had autism, but I didn't imply about. I did imply about discrimination as well at the other interview, which is why I also didn't get the job. I think by implying about discrimination, I realized I went to a job training recently, and they told me that by telling them about discrimination, you basically know too much. They told me they're like because you know your rights too much. Like if you feel like you're being discriminated against, or if they are discriminating against you, you could sue them, and then the company could be your liability to the company basically because of that. Or they could. I would not sue. I would just I mean, I guess that's why they're not hiring me. I mean, that's not discrimination. They're not hiring me because I basically didn't do well in the interview. Because of because I flexed my rights too much, I didn't get the jobs. Maybe in my next interview I won't do that. I'll just let them know I have Asperger's and that's it. And how it could be useful for the job. Or just tell them I'm really good at what I'm doing, that's it. And maybe I will erase the part of the resume that mentions anything about autism. However, in the future, after I get my meteorology degree, I might tell say I'm going for like a local TV station, I want to be like a TV meteorologist. I might explain to them, I'll show them my resume, which will show that I've done radio work for in the future it might be, right now it's been 6 years, so in the future it could be 10 or 12 years. I'm like, oh, I've done volunteer radio work for 12 years, and then they might be like, oh, you're overqualified. Or they might be like, we're full right now. Or if it's for an interview, you might not be the best fit. They will probably find some sort of excuse not to hire me. Or maybe I'm gonna be lucky. Maybe if it's like a small TV station, like a town on 100,000 people, maybe I will get hired. But the odds are definitely stacked up against me. But I believe that if I have the right support, I will get the job. I just hope I won't be abandoned and have to fend for myself, as the capitalists are trying to do. Taking away all the social support. Well, I just hope that in the future, somebody from an agency, maybe in the state I'm trying to get the job, maybe one of my advocates can go with me and basically present my skills and what I'm really good at without me having to do it, because I stutter when I talk, when I have to talk face to face. So, and I overthink things all the time. That's the problem. I overthink. So maybe I could eliminate that problem by having somebody from an agency advocate for me, or just go with me to provide some support. Like, nonverbal cues, like they might tap my foot if I'm doing something, like not saying something right, or, I will let the interview know I have autism. This is just suggestions. I don't know what I should do, but maybe these are some good suggestions, or maybe just have somebody present, write a professionally done resume for me, and maybe I'll have have somebody present visual, like tell me, so when they ask me about my skills, I'll show them in an envelope, so I won't have to talk much, just say, I'm really good at weather forecasting, maybe do a PowerPoint presentation, that's something I'm pretty good at, really good at making PowerPoint presentations. Maybe that will allow them to hire me by doing visual-based interview. Like I have a visual resume. You're welcome. And that could actually get me hired. I just don't know how to do it. So maybe I'll have a friend of mine, maybe a job coach, help me with that. And I really hope I get the job whenever I graduate. Thank you for watching. Bye.